Well, good evening, welcome to Rangers Radio. Join myself on the show this evening is the one and only Linda. Evening, Linda.
Evening, Oxjer. Evening, everyone. I hope you're all keeping safe and well.
Yes. It might be soft, it might be hard boiled, but an egg's an egg, Linda?
Good old Boydie. Good old Boydie.
Oh, what a man he's turned out to be, and we should have a testimonial for Chris now.
I know, what a personality he's got. I think you said that before. He didn't come out like that in the pitch, and when he also played for us, but he's certainly flying the flag for Rangers on the media, isn't he?
Here. Right, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll have the view for the bridge, and then we'll have a quick chat, and we'll get the phone lines opened if that's all right with you.
Sounds perfect.
All right. Let's hear the view from the bridge.
Good evening, welcome. This is my first ever time for doing a view for the bridge, and my take on the game last night was very much it was an even game. I thought there was a lot of misplaced passes. I thought Rangers had the clearer chances. Hadji had a great chance in the first period, which went just wide with a wee deflection. Hibs had a couple of decent chances, but never really cut us open. Obviously, there was a few tasty challenges going in. There was a few scores getting settled on the park between certain departments. I thought Rangers were very much in the game. However, I have to say, as we moved into the second half, there was a lot of misplaced passes from both teams, I have to add, but in particular from guys like Connor Golson, who had a good first half, but he started misplacing a few passes. Middle of the park became a little bit ragged. And I have to say also that the back end of the defence I thought was still looking very sturdy. And I thought when Hibs did break on us, I always felt we would clear. But it took for a change up, as the manager has said in his after-match press conferences today, to bring a few more legs on. It was great to see Scott Arfield coming back onto the pitch on a double change with Kemar Roof. Roof came on. Kent was still on the park. Hadn't really done a lot. He jinked about a few times. Was getting caught up and taking maybe too many touches again, Ryan. But he did draw the foul. And for me, it was a stonewall penalty to Rangers. No qualms about it. As soon as I saw it first time, and I've saw it now for about 10th time today, and I still haven't changed my mind, clearly clipped him. And even more delicious was the fact that Ryan Porteous that had committed the crime. It was great to see him dancing about and his legs going all Bruce Gobbler in front of John Beaton. The ball was placed down. Coolest man. He's got ice running through his veins, clearly. Put the ball down. Came our roof. A wee jink. Dummied the keeper. 1-0 to the Rangers. And that, for me, is Rangers saw out the game. Is a view from the bridge. My first time, so go easy on me, guys.
That was delicious, Linda, wasn't it?
Very. Well done, Jaffa.
Even Jaffa.
How you doing, guys? Not like being put on the spot, but thank you for that. Give me the opportunity.
I'll tell you what, I was just waiting for you covering all the highlights of that game last night.
Oh no, that wasn't going to happen. I'm never as qualified or as professional as Bridge. I'll leave that to the pros.
Oh no, mate. It was a turgid game. It wasn't a great. It was. There was excitement in a poor game of football, Linda. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it wasn't pretty at all. I think you're totally spot on there to watch at times, but it was a crucial 3 points, wasn't it? And we probably were a wee bit kind of worried going into the game because of what happened in the semi-final. But Jaffa's right, it was a fairly even contest, but we probably had the best chances in a game where we didn't hit any great heights at all. But obviously Alfie missed that kind of sitter before half time. Although
what a goal that would have been, Linda. What a goal.
Absolutely, but I don't know, it's maybe not as quite as bad as it looks, because I think you were saying as well, he was kind of getting back the way a wee bit. And we certainly created. They had a few moments that you would probably expect of the home team, but I would say that probably we had the better chances and probably just shaded it, I think, for the win.
We huffed and puffed a bit. We weren't great in the start of the second half, if I'm being honest, Jaffa.
Yeah, there was a lot of miss. I mean, Connor Golson he had a good first half, I have to say. You know, I will be honest, Ox, I didn't see every minute of the game. I did watch the majority of it. I had it on, but I was busy doing some stuff, so I was dipping in and out. But I noticed not only Connor was at the misplaced passing, Stephen Davis was at the misplaced passing, which was right out of character. There was a good 3 or 4 of them. And I have to say, one of the guys that shone for me and the whole night was Calvin Bassey. I thought he had a brilliant game.
Hear. He's fast. He's no slow in the tackle, Linda. I wouldn't fancy trying to run with him, if that makes any sense. There's assets there that maybe Balogun and that haven't got, particularly his pace. He's also left-footed, Linda.
Yeah, because we always talk about having that balance. I know Bridge likes that, and that's why he thinks, he prefers Hollander in the team at times, and I think we all probably are more comfortable with Hollander there. But certainly Bassey does give you that, because as you said, he's left-footed. And we have got to remember that he primarily is a left back, so hats off to the big guy. His enthusiasm is there to be seen, but he's also turning into be probably a better footballer than maybe we first thought. It's just my own opinion, but he certainly hasn't let us down, and I think Gio's been very, very happy with him when he was asked that question. So it's his shirt to lose now, isn't it? I think we'll be interested to see what happens. Yeah,
3 games in a row he's come in. We've lost 1 goal, Jeff. That's the stats.
Can't argue with that, that's all the stats that you need. I mean, you really, I'll tell you what, none of us have been saying we've been missing Balogun, as much as I like big Balogun. But I think nearing the last few performances, whether he was an injury, he seemed to be slowing down a lot. Bassey's done the exact opposite. I mean, what I really like about him, he's right at it, Ox. See the minute he senses danger really well, and I like that a lot. He covers a lot for Barisic. I don't know if you see him, you'll notice him running out into the left. Because I think the left back's his natural position. He obviously still naturally, he kind of gravitates towards that. So it's good to see him. He looks a brilliant big prospect. And that smile, man, I could look at that all day. I think it's brilliant.
Between him and Sakala, we're a happy, clappy team.
Do we look happy?
Well said.
I see what you've done there, Jeff. That wasn't bad. I'll give you that. I'll give you that. Right, so, aye. Wanda, you've got some interesting stats to blow away this myth, or some of the myths that I've been playing about today, yes?
Yes, do you want to hear the penalty stats?
These are Linda's stats.
Right, okay.
Yes, let's hear them.
Right, so over the last 5 and a bit seasons, people have been looking at the times that penalties have been awarded for us in the team from the other side of the city. So I'll just go through them. 87 plus minutes. The Tick have had 8 and Rangers have had 2. Between the 77th and the 86th minute, they've had 8 and we've had 7. 46 to 76 is 18 for them, 15 for us. And in the first half, 18 for them and 26 for us. So overall, Ox, that's 52 penalties to them and 50 to Rangers. So there's some stats for the conspiracy theorists.
Yes. That's especially for that new listener we've got, Declan. Hope you picked that up, wrote that down. Right, okay.
Oh, they're listening. They'll be listening.
Oh, we know they're listening, mate. We know they're listening. But aye, look, you win and lose a game of football. It was a penalty kick. For me, it was a penalty kick all day long. I thought the one that Stephen Davis just tripped him in the semi-final was also a penalty kick. But the one last night was a stronger case than that. So it's a penalty kick, isn't it? All day long. And you take it, you score it, and you move on, Jaffa, yeah?
Ox, there's no other way to say it. It was a stonewaller. I mean, he took the foot right out of Kent. He's running momentum. He goes down. There was no dive in it. I mean, he was cutting inside. He was probably going to get a shot away. It was a stonewaller, Ox. They don't come any more stonewaller than that. And I thought Kemar Roof dispatched it brilliantly, I have to say. Very under a lot of pressure there, right at the end of the game, and that always brings a lot more pressure to the proceedings. So, great penalty.
And shooting into that magnificent support, Linda.
Oh, it was absolutely fantastic. And some of the videos that have been doing the rounds today, from the view from behind the goal, and there was a couple of fans jumped onto the pitch, and whilst you don't want that to happen, the excitement was just unbelievable for them. They were probably thinking, is a goal going to come? Because there was a couple of efforts just about 10 minutes before that. The one that Kent had, that Porteous got his head in the way, I think that was net bound. And he had another one where the goalie got down and saved it. So after that, I think we were all wondering if it was going to end up 0-0. But it must have been amazing being there, Ox. The atmosphere at the away end was fantastic. And it's a real shame that the other support couldn't get their tifo right.
I noticed that. What was that all about? You just chuck it, don't you?
Oh dear. Well, good point, well made, Linda. I'll tell you what, but you see everything that's wrong with Scottish football, and there's maybe you can get another 3,000 bears in there, bringing 100,000 quid worth of revenue to Hibs, fold the grun up. I just don't get it, Jaffa. I really don't.
Crazy, Ox. Crazy. It's the laws of economics. Just for that, those situations don't add up to me at all. From a business perspective, not only from a business perspective, from a spectacle of putting on a football match at the end of the day. The amount of spaces around their stadium was ridiculous. I mean, that's got to be one of the biggest games. That is one of their biggest games of the season at their stadium, and they can't even fill it. It's very poor, I have to say, really poor, on Hibs' part, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, we'll get these phone lines. Hoping if it's all right with you, Phil and Holly.
Sounds like a plan.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Well, let's hear from you.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show. It's your platform. Let's hear from you.
I think everybody would accept it wasn't a classic performance, but when you put it on the back of the European game, the away game, and basically we went to the well with the same players, pretty much, Jaffa.
Yeah,
It's been a good week.
It has been, Ox. I mean, 2 clean sheets, which is absolutely brilliant. And by the way, that's something we've not done most of the season. And we lost the 1 goal against Livingston, which I have to say was a great save, as we spoke about last week. Great save by McGregor on the rebound. The fella gets down and knocks the kind of diving header into the bottom of the net. I think it's been a great week. And I heard you last night, Ox. I think your words were brilliant. And what you said. In 6 days, we've played 3 games with nigh on the same 11 starting, bar Scott Arfield and Stephen Davis. Gio's had a hard start his Rangers career, and I think he's doing just fine. He's doing just fine in my eyes. I'm loving the guy to bits. It's great having him back round about Ibrox again. I love the fact that song when the fans sing his name. I love it.
Going about his business quietly, would you say, Linda?
Yeah, I think so. But he's actually telling us what he's thinking at times as well, isn't he, in terms of his substitutions? He's been quite open about that, because he said last night, Ox, that he was going to bring on Sakala, because I feel a wee bit sorry for Sakala in terms of the amount of pitch time he's had. Be interesting to see if he starts on Saturday. But he was thinking about bringing him on, but when we got the penalty and scored, he changed it and he brought Lundstrom on just to obviously see the game out. So he is making changes during the game that are quite apparent to us, when sometimes maybe the previous regime didn't make substitutions or they left it too late, etc. So you can kind of see what he's trying to do, but it is going to take time. I mean, it is only 3 games, and he's probably only had a handful of training sessions as well, Ox, hasn't he? Because the games are coming sort of thick and fast. So
if anything of any great, what would you had? Obviously, he's come in on the Monday last week, Tuesday, Wednesday, maybe ready for the Thursday game. Nothing on Friday, on Saturday, nothing great, nothing really. Maybe 3 training sessions tops, Linda. You know.
Yeah, and that's going to continue, Ox, isn't it? Because of this schedule. I think there's only 1 week we've not got a game midweek. So but in saying that, it's given him a real opportunity to see his players, and but he'll be wanting us just to get through these next sort of 45 weeks, and then he'll obviously get time to work with them a bit more. But he's settled in quietly but really effectively.
Jaffa.
Yeah, it's I was thinking the same kind of things myself, Fox. After last night's game, about just how much time he's had on the training pitch with the players, and it will be very little. But clearly, he's obviously played at the highest level. He knows he's done this before. He's seen it all throughout his career. He'll be doing a lot of man management stuff and a lot of 1-to-1 with the players and getting to know them, which is really important. And I think you can see some relationships already starting to come together. I think there's a lot of players in there that have had a bit of a lease. And they had a look at themselves, and there's no doubt a couple of guys that won't be happy with the changeover, and that's the nature of the beast. There's nothing we can do about that. But I'm really pleased with Gio and his team and the guys that have come in. I really like the look of some of the bits and bobs that I've seen on training videos and some of the whispers that are coming out of the club. Everything seems the AGM was good. There was a nice real bit of harmony there on Tuesday. So that was great also.
Yes, yeah, went quite well, the AGM. Some positive stuff, some decent plans. I think everything seems to move in the right direction, Linda, yeah?
Yeah, I think we've all got a lot of confidence just now in terms of the board and the investors and the guys that they've got in post, like Ross Wilson, like the guy Bisgrove. The fact that the investors and the directors have met that $7.5 million that we needed to see us through to the end of the season is absolutely hats off to them. Fantastic. And an interesting target was the commercial side, Ox. I think was it something like 27 million, the target for 21-22. So
yeah, it's nearly 100% of growth, yeah.
Yeah, unbelievable, Ox, and you wouldn't be coming out and telling that if you're not confident that you're going to make it, eh?
Well, what I would say is you'll have the 6-month results roughly, Jaffa, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I
mean, the only thing I was disappointed with being there on Tuesday, Ox, was that I never got the opportunity to ask the question that I think everyone in the auditorium wanted to hear, which was obviously, has anyone seen or heard of Terry Monroe?
No bad, mate. No bad. That's
well
2 good
done.
news tonight, mate. You're coming on.
Well said, Jaffa.
Just got it. Right.
Oh, he told me he was going to say that one before the show.
I like it. A lot of confidence. The boys they're doing a job, and everything seems to be going the right direction. A massive undertaking. The fans have stuck with them, done their bit. The guys, the investors have done their bit. John Bennett talking about the price of what they were getting, the coupons at, meaning the rate they're paying to borrow money is the cheapest it's been since we've been back. and everything's going in the right direction. That's if you're buying £1 million at that kind of dough, it's cheap chaff for you.
Well, exactly, Ox, and I mean, he also elaborated a wee bit on that. I found that information really insightful for the club. Talking about just recently some of the markets were coming to us to try and lend us money and see if we wanted to borrow money. And only recently in November, somebody came and were looking for 13%, interest rate, and we're paying 6%. I know, I get it. They're friendly lenders, that they are the directors, and they're all Rangers supporters, which is brilliant. And you can hear and see that. The club's it's in the best position it's been in for a long time, Ox, as we all, I'm sure, feel that and see it. And the guys at the helm, Douglas Park and his family, and John Bennett and even James Bisgrove and all the other guys, they're all really putting, they're slogging the hours out in there. And it takes time. We're a big support. We're a big football club. There's a lot of stuff we all know needs done. The disabled stuff, with the toilets and the facilities, is a thing that's close to a lot of our hearts. Whether we own somebody elderly or whatever, it's they take time. These things, Ox, they just don't. You can't turn out those kind of resources on overnight. The money's got to be raised for it. It's got to be put aside, and they've got to prioritise the club. But I think they're doing great.
I think you only get one chance at it, and you've got to get it right. Some of these things, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, I mean, well, stadium alone, the age of it brings its own challenge, because we have such an elderly stadium, and the upkeep of the stadium alone. And obviously, we've put a lot of resources this year into the new Edmonton House, which I'm sure we all agree. We all, it's for all of us. It's for all our families. It's for our kids and everybody coming up afterwards. In the next generations. New Edmonton House will be brilliant because it's a museum, and we've never had a museum before. I mean, a club of our stature and the pivotal role that we play in our society is, and we don't have a museum. It'll be great. I can't wait. Can't wait for it.
Yeah. Talking about museum pieces, I've been joined by old Davy. How we doing, Davy?
Hey, Linda, don't encourage him. Come on.
I'm sorry, Davy, but it was a wee bit funny.
It's actually hilarious. Oh, bring it on. Actually, I'm doing great. I'm not too clever. And by the way, good evening, everybody.
How we doing, Davy? All right?
Yeah, well, I was a bit concerned last night. Right enough, there was squeaky bum time, hadn't you, looking, but there's the 3 points.
Yes,
but overall, the game, I thought their possession that's the worst I've seen it yet. Gain the ball away. I've never seen a team gain away as much as that. And that was to me, that's a worry. And it must be a worry for Broncos as well.
I get it, mate, but I think he'll be saying 3 games, 6 days, we move on. Wasn't he great last night? We hope for
definitely. Definitely.
I'm not denying that we gave the ball away cheaply. Jaffa, and then Linda.
We did, Davey. We were. I mean, there was some. I mean, Borna Barisic. I'm just going through some of the passages of play when he was trying to play the ball up. I mean, it wasn't even. It was passes that weren't getting to his fellow player. And then I don't know if you remember the run that Stephen Davis had in the second half where we broke away, and there was I think it was like a 5 versus 3, and Stephen Davis played the ball out to the left hand side, and I don't know what Barisic's done. He dummied it, and Kent. It just the ball went out of play. It was a terrible moment in the game. I was screaming at the telly, Davey, at that point. But listen, Davey, these things happen, unfortunately, in football. Matches they take different. Hibs. I'm not giving them credit, but they are not a bad team. They're not a bad team. And bearing in mind when they play us, they put an extra 20% or 30% in the legs. We all know that, and they really make an effort against us. They play that 5 at the back. They've almost got a 5 in the middle of the park. It's stuffy. They narrow the place down. And incidentally, I don't know if you've noticed what we're doing as well. Tavernier and Barisic are not nearly getting forward as much as they did under Gerrard. Not nearly. Right. They're both sitting back. So he's leaving it to the wide guys to do the damage. And last night it was in the case of Kent and Hadji. Hadji, it was debatable. He was in and out of the game. I have to say, I thought his chance in the first half was very good. I remember it stuck in my head. Kent drifted in and out of the game. They kept putting two on him all the time. It was tough, Davey. It was a tough game. I think the 3 points was all that mattered at the end of the day, pal.
Well, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, absolutely agree with Jaffa. The fullbacks definitely aren't pushing up, and he's kind of trying to get the width from the wingers, really, and that's obviously something that we've talked a lot about on the show. And I thought we gave the ball away mostly when we were in that final third at times as well, Ox, or decision making, that you were in sort of relatively good positions, and we didn't get a chance created because the final ball wasn't the right one. The decision making was poor at times, and we lacked a wee bit of tempo, I think. However, as the guys have said, it was all about the victory and on to the next game, really.
Aye, listen, Davey, we were poor in possession. There was some poor worse than others. I didn't think in the first half. I thought Barisic, Kent and Hadji were particularly poor. Followed closely by Stephen Davis, bizarrely.
Yeah,
Mr. Consistency.
definitely. He needs a rest.
It's a strange one, mate. I just don't know. I mean, obviously, he never played at all on Sunday. His energy was still at the end. He's not got the physicality. It'll be interesting to see what happens going forward with Stephen. But I'm sure he'll have man of the match performances again for us.
Can I just say something, Vox, regarding, do you not think he should be playing the players that are in form after what he sees? Because, you've heard me going on about Morelos. That he's not interested. I'm not saying he's not interested, but we're playing a man short with the way he's playing. So he's got to shuffle it back.
But Morelos will start on Saturday, I think, bizarrely. I don't think he was great neither last night. I thought he was okay in the first half. But had a good first half if he scores that goal, because it'd been an excellent goal and he started the move. And then in the second half, Linda, he's coming deep, trying to get involved and just getting the ball away, yeah?
Yeah, I think if he scores that chance, he probably goes on and maybe even gets another one in the second half. With Alfie, it seems to be Ox, if he doesn't score early doors, then he starts to come deep. If he's not touching the ball in the final third, he's trying to get his touch and he's trying to involve himself in the game. And I know the instruction will be for him to stay further up, but it is quite difficult that if you've not maybe touched the ball and you're feeling cold, or you're thinking, am I going to be able to put a chance away because I haven't touched the ball for the last sort of 10-15 minutes. So you can see it developing, but he's not quite on it. And as I said, that chance, Alfie, you would expect to score, and he maybe would have went on and got a second if he had got that, but it's all about the goals for him, I think, just now. But you're right, he probably will start on Saturday, but I would start with someone else up in the focal point.
Mm-hmm. Well said, Linda.
I think some of the problem with last night, Jeff, that I don't think he got any service. And
It's a great point, Ox. I mean, you can't dispute that. He's not getting good service at all. And I noticed last night.
How would you feel, Davey, if you weren't getting regular service on your coach?
I disagree with that. You had Kamal Roof came on for half an hour, and as far as I'm concerned, he done more in that half an hour than Morelos has done in the last game and a half. So you can't say what he's not getting the service. Come on, Rick, you made your service. You go, if you don't get it, go and get it. But he just...
Apart from a chest at the halfway line, lovely body Arfield, I may add, and taking the penalty. What did Kamal Roof do?
He was getting into the right positions to get the ball. And get the game I was watching anyway.
Did he have a chance? Was he involved in the 18-yard box? Did anybody make a chance for him?
He scored the penalty.
Aye. I think we've got to be fair on Alfie. I mean, I'm not saying he had a great game. I'm not saying he was magnificent, but particularly in the first half, one boy got in for a great pass for Joe Aribo. I had Linda.
Yeah, and I think probably from Alfie's perspective, he possibly isn't getting as much service as he would like. But the difficulty for me with that one is that he's actually getting the most pitch time just now. And as I say, and it's not a slant on Alfie, because he'll come back and he'll score important goals for us. He'll have a big role to play. But I just think that perhaps we're not getting enough out of him for the minutes that he's on the pitch, Ox. That's all I would say about that. You could argue that, Sakala could have had more time. I mean, he didn't even get on. So it will be interesting to see what happens going forward.
Well, I was screaming at the telly. I didn't think the substitutions were great. I was wanting Sakala to come on when Roof and Arfield come on to give us a bit of pace up front.
Yeah.
But ultimately, Jaffa, when I was talking to Gio this morning, he said I got it right, Ox.
He did say that, and he wasn't wrong. He wasn't wrong there at all. Yeah, Giovanni, when he said that, and he's after press that he made the right call and he got it right. He did. We won the game. But listen, at the cup, at the semi-final at Hampden, I was roaring, and I've never done that. I was roaring for the top of my lungs about Alfie and the mistakes and the ball bouncing off him. I was getting really frustrated by him. And I know that I'm happy to give him that as a one-off, that he had a bad game. He wasn't alone in that. But I hear what everybody's saying about who's in form and who's not in form, and I hear all the other guys and girls saying it. Personally speaking, I would have liked to have seen Sakala start the game last night. If not Sakala, I'd like to have seen Roof start the game. Just to see, let's change it up. We're talking about, as Davey says, playing with best players that are in form. Alfie, I'm not having a pop at any of our players here, but he's certainly he's not the Alfie that we know, the version of himself that we know. That when he is in form, he's banging in goals left, right and centre. He's dragging defenders all over the place. I don't know whether he needs to lose a wee bit of beef. That's a different debate. I'm not, again, want to point the finger at anybody, but he looks a bit overweight to me, as if he's carrying maybe a stone overweight.
Are you building that physique on your good self, Jaffa?
Of course, absolutely. Yep, steak fire mince round.
I get it. I think there's a problem with we've got a problem with our team, and some people listening to the show a lot might expect me to say this. I feel a bit sorry for the boy Hadji. I don't think he's the right in any system. I don't think he's a wide player. He's a number 10 inside that can go both ways for me, supporting the strikers. Putting him out wide, pace becomes an issue, Linda, and then he doesn't create a lot, yeah?
Yeah, and he starts to misplace passes, and we start to get annoyed at him, and probably in the stadium as well. Fans get frustrated, but to be fair to him, he still tries. He doesn't hide, but it's the wee basic errors that he makes. But the thing about that is that it's who you would actually take out of that sort of middle position then to fit Hadji in, Ox. And he's obviously got a bit of a battle in his hands, because
he's not getting ahead of Joe Aribo, is he?
Yeah, he's not getting ahead of Joe Aribo, because that's kind of been the lineup, isn't it? Well, it's been Kent, Aribo and Hadji. I'm
actually sticking up for him here, Linda, believe it or not, yeah?
Yeah, I understand that, Ox. And as you say, he has got ability, but he is, for me, he's a moments player. I mean, if that chance he had went in, we would all have been thinking, what a wonderful wee bit of play from him.
Yeah,
you're not going to get even a 60, 70 minute performance out of him. I think you'll just get, it'll just be fits and starts from him. But he's not even really contributing in terms of maybe coming out with a sort of pass that's creating a really good chance or scoring a goal. So he's got a wee bit of work to do, probably.
When was the last time you had a moment, Dave?
That's so weird. I wonder, are you going to have a word with him?
He is awful.
That's why you don't want any carry on pictures. Oh, he is awful.
That's what it was meant to be, Davy.
Well, the good thing is that we can have a laugh, and that's what life's all about. And the great thing at the moment is we're not exactly firing on all cylinders, but we're racking up the games and the points. That's the main thing. As I said last week, or whenever the last time I was speaking, if we can get through the next few games, 2 or 3 games, get by that monkey mob, come out of there, still 4 points ahead, I think by that time, Gio will have a better handle on the whole system. And I'm very confident after that. And I must say, I thought Arfield came on last night, was outstanding as well.
I thought he done all right, David. I'll give you that one. Yeah, I'll give you that one. What I will say is, the last 4 league games, mate, and I'll take this to Jaffa and I'll come back to you. The last 4 league games, 3 of them have been away from home, Motherwell, obviously Livingston and Easter Road. Okay, they're not the toughest, but they're maybe not the easiest. Then you throw in the Ross County at home. What have we scored? 14 goals and conceded 4. So we can't be doing a lot, Ryan, when you look at that, Jaffa.
No, well, so that's the other thing as well over a season, you know, and we look back on it. You're not going to, you can't play 38 games and play this, you know, brilliant, expansive football with guys like, you know, Kent scoring top corner finishes every game. It just, a season of football doesn't work like that. You need to dig results out. I thought last night we really fought. It was a battle. Last night was a fight. And that's what I think where a lot of the misplaced passes comes from, because the players they're on edge. They're not playing any fluency, and your own game gets disrupted because they were right up for it. They were well up for it, and I thought we done well to, after considering what happened in the semi-final locks. I think we really stood up to them last night. And I mean, they've got a couple of really horrible minging players on their team who, you know, they've got no love for us, and I hope some of your guys don't feel the same way about them. So I think we done well last night, and I think over the Peace Ox you're going to have games like that throughout a season. Mm-hmm. But I think we're doing very, very well. I really do, considering the turmoil that the team have had in the background with the manager leaving. I think the club and the team are doing great, to be honest with you.
Spot on, Chapper, spot on.
Aye. Davey, Jaffa's made the point, and we are on a decent run when you look at the results. And I'll agree with you to some extent, but performances haven't been.
Sorry, did you say you were agreeing with me there?
Aye.
I'm sorry, I thought I heard that. You know, that's okay. Carry on.
Aye.
By the way, I'm listening.
He's getting a bit familiar one, isn't he?
What? Just one of the gang now, Ox. He's one of the gang.
That'll be the day.
No, but
carry on. Sorry I interrupted you there. Carry on.
I'll give you that. Well, sometimes we've not been the greatest team to watch, but games like last night. I
never said we weren't the greatest team to watch. I never said that.
But that game last night, that's the kind of games that win you the league, yeah?
Oh, 100%. I actually think when Hadji's getting a bit of criticism, I don't think that's his position. If you're going to play a wide man with 2 in the middle, like Kent coming through the wing and a centre, Hadji's not got the pace for that, to be a wide man. So I don't think he could get the criticism he's getting in the neck about where he is. He's a light player. He's no pace, but he's got the technique, the ability.
In the old days, London, he was an inside man rather than an outside man, yeah?
Yeah, but they're all going to have their part to play, Ox. I mean, when you think about it, I know we don't want to keep harping back to last season, but when you've got a successful season, players turn up at different times. They don't all play great every single week, and sometimes they go through wee phases where they're not playing well at all, and sometimes you get patterns of play or patterns of games where they're having really good games. It's like, for example, Scott Arfield for me is coming into a bit of form just now. And
Yep.
he did that last year, you'll remember. He put a run of games together and he was really outstanding for us, and then unfortunately picked up an injury. So they're all going to have their part to play. So it is going to be interesting to see if he makes a few changes for Saturday, because he's not made that many changes in his first 3 games. Just one wee final point as well. Any new manager coming into a club, they bite your hand off for 3 victories.
Definitely.
Aye, true.
Absolutely.
True. Do you sense there's maybe an atmosphere about the team, Jeff, for a positive attitude than there was under the previous regime?
I do, Ox, yeah. I absolutely do. I think there's a bit more contentment. Dare I say it, and again, I'll use the same word again because it's a beautiful word, a bit of harmony. Listen, Ox, and we all know we're working life. There'll have been players, there'll have been staff within that dressing room will have known what was going on in the background. That didn't all just happen on the Wednesday and it all was concluded by the Tuesday or whatever, the way it happened. That would have been going on for weeks. So my point there is there would have been that creates instability by its very nature, because people start worrying about their jobs. And I do sense that there's a bit more togetherness within the team. I do, and I think that's. I think it can only stand us in good stead for the rest of the season.
Mm-hmm. All right, Davey.
Well, Chap was spot on with what he said there, but I mean, as the transition period has been dire, and there has to be some kind of reaction, and I think that's where we went off the boil, because you can't have a guy like Gerrard who done a business, got a 55, fabulous, that'll do me, I'll do a happy man, that mob will not get there. We've got the Holy Grail, and they'll not get their hands in it. So, but where he left, I think, is what's got stuck in everybody's gullet. And that's not a good feeling. And I think that's the players. I mean, you've got a guy there asking about how he's going to lose his players, and I don't want to sell us. And then he's off ski 2 days later. Nah, that doesn't wash with me.
It's gone now. It's gone, Linda. You move on. 3 games for the new manager. 2-0 victory in Europe takes us to the next round. 3-1 away at a difficult venue under difficult circumstances, because some of these snowballs were lethal. And then 1-0. And 1-0. A traditionally difficult place to go, even though the stats don't bear that out, Linda. We've actually got quite a good record there, but bizarrely.
Yeah, I think just as Davey said, it was just the way it happened with Gerrard, and it was a real kick in the teeth, and then the semi-final display, and we were all feeling really quite down about things. We knew Gio was coming in, and we just thought, just go out and get three victories, and you would have absolutely taken that. But in terms of like the players, it's a really strange one that because we all loved having Gerrard as our manager, and he brought us that title. But as you say, Ox, you don't know what's going on behind closed doors. There was definitely something wrong this season because of the way that we were playing. And it might be that it's just a fresh start for everyone, and maybe the players are feeling like that as well now. It's a breath of fresh air having the new manager in.
Here. And some people took it worse than others, David, because some people get life-size cutouts of Steven Gerrard.
I've got one of his masks, and one of the boys in the golf phoned me up and says, "You'll be taking that back and getting a Gio one now." I says, "That's all well, don't you worry."
Go on, David, do it.
Golfer, would you play off of David?
A nice 23.
23.
20. Well, that's not bad for an old guy of 73.
No, it's not bad. Sometimes they windmills and they clowns' faces can be quite difficult. You know what I
mean? You called me crazy. Brilliant. That's spot on. I'll get to that point one day, but I'm not going down to Largs.
Well, me and Linda are undefeated at the Rangers Radio Golf Day, so you maybe get invited, Davey.
I play up at Caldwell. I'm a member of Caldwell, so
maybe get invited. That's if Donald Trump lets us back at his place after last
week. If you want to come up and play my course, you're more than welcome. More than welcome.
Fox embarrassed us all. Couldn't believe it. Right, okay.
Was his bag going clink clink?
No, I think it was something to do with his golf trousers when trying to do his head and all different things. You just get a bit carried away, you know.
A+4's are murdery going though.
Aye. You looked like Ronnie Corbett with his jumper in though. Did you see that Ronnie Corbett one a day, Linda?
Oh, he's brilliant, Ronnie Corbett. So
I did laugh.
Yes.
Right, okay. I've made a statement there that games like that is winning the league. Thoughts, Linda?
Yeah, absolutely. And we had quite a few 1-0 victories in our championship winning season as well, Ox. If we remember, we didn't always play brilliant last season either. Maybe we forget that. But there's definitely certain venues for us that we are going to probably play like that. And if we come away with a 1-0 victory, I think you've just got to chalk it off and move on to the next game. And you could see that Gio was really delighted with the result as well when he got interviewed. Didn't he try and sugarcoat it in terms of the performance? He also talked about giving the ball away. I think it was transition was the phrase he used. So, yeah, absolutely. We'll play with a wee bit of style and panache hopefully on Saturday. But I think at these away venues, if you come away with a 1-0, I think it's job done.
Yep. Jaffa.
Yep, they are. These are the results. That last night, the Hearts games away, the games at Livingston on the snowy winter nights, they're the ones that win you the league. That's what winning leagues are all about. A lot of the bread and butter stuff at Ibrox, where we always traditionally, we're very, very strong at our home ground. You get the odd blip, of course, but in the essence, we're always looking to rack up the goals. And I guess on Saturday against Dundee, it'll be no different. But last night's result was brilliant, absolutely, and it can't be underestimated. It was a great result. It was a brilliant 3 points, and it was a 0 again on the board, and that's all that matters. That is all that matters. A Bridgeman, give me Bridgeman's to now and the rest of the end of the season, and we win the league.
Correct. Aye. Davey, who were players shone for you last night then? Who did you think was...
Technically a Rebo, but he was doing a wee bit of getting the ball away as well. But the boy's got the talent, and I just hope we can keep a hold of him. That's the thing. But that's going down another. So I'll tell you who was. I must say, has been getting in the neck lately. It's McGregor. See McGregor in the last couple of games, the ones against Livingston, the 2 saves he had there, and the ones against Sparta. I mean, all right, he's guilty for corners and all the rest, but see the stops, who can't get that out there? Need to move the teeth about. It's shot stopping. I need to shut up.
Come into the studio. Why don't you come into the studio, mate? We've always got spare sets in here.
Well, you know what I mean, but I mean the saves he was throwing up there. They're talking about. You are too young to remember this. Gordon Banks and all that against Brazil. McGregor's been pulling him up the last 2 or 3 games.
You're right, Davey. I'm not too young, but they too will remember him. Carry on.
They think that's a bank, Gordon Banks.
Leicester Stoke in England, yeah?
You're clued up on them. You've got your knowledge here, son.
Car crash, 1974, I believe.
Aye, damage. You got you a bad eye injury there.
Anything else you want to know?
No, I'll leave that down to you. I'm scared to see you in case you tear me to bits.
I would never, ever do that to you, David.
Nah, but I think he's going to get a good clap in the back for somebody got. I mean, that one he saved at Livingston. The two, I mean, they were just unbelievable. And that was the difference between winning that game and getting a draw. To see if they'd have pulled that back to 2-2 at half time, I think we might have put our heads down a wee bit.
But we never learned
No, well, that's what he's there for.
Mm-hmm. We've took 6 out of 6 with Giovanni. We've got the Dundee game coming up at Ibrox. We'd like to think we'd win that. You never know, but we should. Away to Lyon and then away to Hearts, and then we'll get another 2 home games. So 3 out of 4 away games and then 3 out of 4 at home. It just this random computer just doesn't seem to work right, does it?
No, it's quite strange, Ox, isn't it? How these fixtures all materialise. But the Lyon one's interesting because it's almost like a free hit, isn't it? Although we would obviously like to get some points out of it because it's obviously revenue for the club. But I'm looking forward to that and to see what sort of team he'll put out as well, you know. And then, as you say, we've got a wee spate of home games, and then obviously sets us up for the 2 really tough games we've got at the end of December. But the McGregor one, Davey, was interesting because I think the Sparta Prague game, a lot of people thought he would have been dropped for that. It's a bit harsh, but or put on the bench. But look at those 2 saves he pulled out at the end. Wasn't they unbelievable? And it wouldn't surprise me that if he just plays Allen for a number of games now, Davey, because I wonder if sitting him out isn't maybe the right thing to do, because he maybe loses a wee bit of his sharpness. Albeit, you know, McLaughlin's not a bad goalkeeper either. So, but no, I'm glad Allen's back to his good form.
I'll tell you what I did notice, Jaffa. He was getting more involved last night, running out his box and.
He done a few punches as well, Ox. He came out for a few balls, a few corners that they had, and he managed to punch. I mean, one in particular, I think the ball kind of skated off his gloves, but he was attempting to come out and punch. I agree with you. He was definitely more involved and a bit more commanding. I would have noticed it. I think he was given instructions in McGregor's the way McGregor would expect him to give instructions, shouting and bawling and calling everything under the sun. But nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, they got a chance, if you remember, in the second half. I think Cadden had the shot down on the right-hand side. And Barisic Kent get caught at the throat. It was a throw-in it came from. And they took the throw-in and they lobbed it over Kent's head. Kent was pulling his socks up at the time.
His socks up at the time, mate.
Aye. It drove me nuts, Socks. I was screaming at the telly. And then on top of that, Barisic kind of turns his back on it. And Cadden gets a free hit, but McGregor was going. I mean, you could hear him from where I was sitting. He was going mental. There's nothing wrong with that. I love McGregor doing that. I think your goalie doing that's brilliant, and really keeping the back line. So was Big Golson last night. I noticed he had the clearance. If you remember the one that he flicked away off the top of his laces. That was going right across to Nisbet. I think he was going to tap it in. Good clearance. So no, you need more in that in the team. And I agree with Linda. I think that's a great point, Linda, about keeping Allen in the team. I definitely would do that because I think this 1 in and 1 out and getting a wee rest here, I don't think, especially at his age, I don't think that's a good thing, because I think you can easily take your eye off the ball.
Taking your eye off the ball's not a lot of good when you're in goal, Linda, is it?
No, let's hope he doesn't. But we know what you mean, Jaffa.
Freudian slip.
Got to be careful on your Davey, ain't you?
Oh, definitely. No, double jeopardy's not got a look in.
I thought Kamara at times
very
kept the ball well and was neat and tidy. But if I've got one complaint about Glenn, when there is an opportunity, he's got the ability to drive on and make things happen, because he can do it, Linda.
Yeah, absolutely. And also as well, he finds himself in some brilliant positions to shoot Ox, and I know it's not his game, and maybe we've just got to accept that, but there's a couple of times where you thought, just put your foot through it. It could take a deflection or anything, and he's got the ability to maybe even curl the ball into the corners. But I thought we sort of lapsed into the sort of sideways passing last night, and we became a wee bit sort of slow, didn't we, in the midfield, instead of really driving forward. And unfortunately, Glenn is kind of guilty of that. But as I said, hopefully that was just a kind of one-off last night, and he gets back to kind of, because he was a wee bit more positive in the two other games. So we want him to get back to that.
Aye. Just an observation. I just like him to drive into space, Jaffa, sometimes with the ball when he's got it.
There's a lot of them guilty of that last night for some reason, Ox, wasn't there? There was a lot of really good moments in the game where they get into great positions. Kamara in particular, I know what you mean. And he was often stopping them turning back the way, and you're like, just drive forward. You as you say, you pull them out, of defence, you stretch them open. There's loads of different things can take place, people running off you. And then when you've got Arfield on, he was just wanting to play. Scott Arfield to me I would love to play football. I would love to have played football with Scott Arfield. He's a fellow pro's dream to play with. All he looks for is a 1-2 all the time. Every time Scott Arfield gets the ball, he's looking for somebody either to run off him, or if you watch him off the ball, he's running all the time. He's always looking for the space. I love that about Scott Arfield, especially a fit Scott Arfield when he's injury free. I think Arfield's coming back into form is a great thing for Rangers.
Aye. Listen, he just didn't have the legs last time. It was a great bit of skill for Roof at the halfway line, Davey. When he knocked on to Scotty, I think a few years ago, Scotty might have burst through there, but they had the shot. The goalie saved it. He's got something different than the rest of the midfielders. He's trying to get involved with the striker, eh?
Yeah, definitely. You could see the difference when Davis was sort of more being a holding midfielder. That's how I don't think Hadji's where he's playing. If you're talking about playing a wide man, Hadji's not a wide man. He's not going to be a wide man. So why does he not play right out play the two wing men, either right through the middle or whoever you think's more than capable? He's either bench Hadji or bring him into the middle, and I don't think he would gel with the other two.
Aye, but it was good we're talking about competition for places.
Definitely. That's what we need in defence. But we need that in defence. But I mean, that defence is screaming out for Big Orlando. Don't care what anybody says.
You've just got to deal with it. Just got to deal with injuries. But if I was Calvin Bassey, I would phone up and say, "What do you mean? I've been in the defence. We've lost 1 goal in 3 games, Linda."
Yeah, it's not been perfect, and even last night, obviously it wasn't Ox, but I did think that they looked a bit more solid in defence. Your heart wasn't in your mouth every time the ball went forward as it has been in recent games. So I thought they looked, as I said, a bit more solid as a unit. There was a couple of times even Barisic got blocks in. There was one particular one in the first half. It was kind of definitely on target anyway. He's still not stopping the balls coming into the box in terms of the crosses, isn't he? He needs to close down a bit quicker. But I did think that defensively we looked a bit more steady last night.
All right. Time for steadiness. Get yourself some mute. Gonna have a tune.
Ever since I recall, I have followed football, and ingrained in my heart are the Rangers FC. Through good and the bad times, of happy or sad, it will always be Rangers for me. For when I was lost, I was led by the hand down the pacing road west. I will never forget that beautiful sight of the red, blue and white. From that day I Rangers for life. And I vowed to my dad, if I would have a lad, I would show him the way, as he did on that day. And so here I stand with young Lyle by the hand, after walking down Paisley Road West. For when I was a lass, I was led by the hand down the Paisley Road West. I will never forget that beautiful sight of the red, blue and white. From that day I'd be Rangers for life. From that day I'd be Rangers for life. There's a great sense of pride that I feel deep inside as I'm watching the Jazz with my father and son. And it's sure safe to say, at the end of the game, win or lose, we will all follow on. For when I was a lass, I was led by the hand down the Paisley Road West. I will never forget that beautiful sight of the red, blue and white. From that day I'd be Rangers for life. From that day I'd be Rangers for life. From that day I'd be Rangers for life. From that day I'd be Rangers for life.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972? It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Great tune, that. Great tune.
Very nice.
I love that
Nice
one.
version. Nice version, eh?
Yeah, lovely.
Would you class that as a waltz, Davey?
I'm too young to remember that. Oh, what's that? Is that an ice cream? Look, I'll let you get away and let somebody get in here. One of the young
Neil,
team.
thank God after that joke. That was poor.
Well, when you get to 73, I'll try and say
Age is
it.
just a number. Age is just a number.
Aye, okay, mate.
All
Right, well, you all take care, right? I'll
Right,
catch
good
up.
to hear from you, Davey. Speak to you soon,
Good
mate, all
night.
right?
Take care. God
Night,
bless.
Davey.
See you, Davey.
Good night.
Oh, what a man. What a man, Wonder.
Oh, he's a character.
Aye, places for him,
Yeah.
you know. Look, what you're saying about the team, I get it. I get Morelos. I get all the stuff. But this time last week, Alfie was scoring 2 goals for us in the European title. He'd take the team to millions, Linda.
Yeah, I know. I think it's just because we're our team's harshest critics. We really are. And if a player has a couple of bad games, sometimes we've got a tendency to write them off. But as I said earlier, Ox, he'll definitely come back into form and he'll start scoring goals. As I said earlier as well, sometimes it is about the goals for him, and he tends to have a better game if he scores early. So hopefully, as I say, I'm thinking that he maybe won't start on Saturday. I would say that probably Sakala deserves a starting place, but as you said earlier, Gio might not make that many changes.
I would start Sakala as well.
Yeah, and have both of them in the team.
Aye. I would take Hadji and I would go with Sakala, Kent, and Aribo with Morelos right up top, but I think it's important he maybe stays up top, Jaffa.
Yeah, again, Ox, I'd like to see that. I'd like to see the two of them. I mean, we've seen it with the odd wee, kind of cameo where Sakala will come on with Morelos. I think there's been once or twice it's happened, but we've not really seen the two of them play together as such. And now that we've got Roof back as well, it's good to have options up there because, no disrespect to seeing Jermaine Defoe in the team lines. As great as I love Jermaine Defoe, with the amount of depth that we've got in the front line, I'd rather see the young team up there. The guys that have got the legs and have got the energy and they've got they want to get into positions and get in behind. And Sakala is definitely that man, and so's Roof. They bring different aspects of the game. Listen, we've got some great front players at our team, Ox, and I agree with what Linda's saying there. We are our team's harshest critics. I think it's just because we desire for the team to win and being the biggest team in the country, that comes with its own pressures. So you've got to step up to the mark and put on a show. I mean, the papers have got back pages to fill. Radio shows have got they've got hours of airwaves time to fill all these so-called pundits that have played 32 games. For amateur teams, they've got time to talk. So we need to give them something to talk about, Ox.
Oh, that's true. That's true. But we move on. We go in on Saturday. We're short of defenders, really. Golson and Tav, young Parsons there. Apart from that, we're really down to the bare bones in the back four. And Bassey, he's got to play, and obviously Barisic will play, yeah?
Yeah. I think the back four picks itself just now. There might be a temptation to maybe give Tav maybe a rest, but the calls for Patterson to start have maybe sort of, diminished over the last few games, Ox. But I would say that the goalkeeper and the back four defenders, they pick themselves. I don't think he'll disrupt that. We are thin in the ground, but it was obviously Bass. Even if Balogun was fit, I think probably Bassey would keep the shirt. Up front, we've still to see even players like Bukuna and Wright feature, haven't we? We haven't seen them for a while. Bukuna's not even made the bench. So it'll be interesting to see if he freshens it up at all. But those players are likely to stay on the bench, I think.
I think the midfield. Here's a question for you too. What about the conundrum of got John Lundstrom? He's arguably the biggest earner at the club because of the deal he's come in with. And he's not getting a lot of game time in the last few weeks, Jaffa.
No, I think that was always a risky signing, that, Ox. Unless, of course, there's been a bit more of a long-term strategy taking on Lundstrom. I mean, I think, was it a 3-year deal he got for memory? I know he was a free transfer, but he'll be on a hefty wage, Ox, as you quite rightly say. Unless, of course, Davis is planning to hang his boots up at the end of the season and he would be the guy that would come into that position. But I don't even know if he does come into that position, Ox, and walk straight into the centre of the midfield. You've got Liam Kelly on the wings, who's been, again, turning in great performances for the B team and still looks a really, really good player and he looks like a natural successor to Stephen Davis. I don't know what we do with John Lundstrom. Listen, that's up to John Lundstrom what happens, because he needs to play his way into the team, and the only way you can do that is on the training pitch, and that's probably one of the reasons why Giovanni's not been changing up the team that much, because he's not probably going to get a great chance to see them on the training pitch, Ox, as we spoke about earlier.
But do you sit in that conundrum, Melinda?
Yeah, it is a difficult one. I'm not so sure what sort of player we thought we were getting with Lundstrom. I heard people talking about him possibly being a box-to-box player and he would get his goals and he's got a great shot on him. But he did have that wee spate of games, as you rightly pointed out a few times, Ox, where he was arguably man of the match, maybe 3 or 4 games in a row. He then had a bit of a shocker. Was it the Aberdeen game, the 2-2 game? And then he dropped out of the team again after that. So he's had some good games, but he's also had some really kind of poor performances. If I was sitting Stephen Davis out on Saturday, I wouldn't even put Lundstram in it, I would have Arfield in there. So he's not getting in if Davis is resting. For me just now, I think Scott deserves to play in the midfield.
Do you think Scott can play that defensive role, Linda?
The way I would shape it up is I've got Arfield and Kamara as being the kind of that's the 2 in the 4-2-3-1 for Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
So
would that not become a 4-1-1? Jaffa, with the way Scotty plays?
Very quickly, I suspect. Probably. He wants to play up beside Alfredo Morelos, doesn't he? It's just he can't keep the reins. It's like you need to keep the reins on him. And as I said earlier, I love that about Scott Arfield, and I've said that on a couple of times. Been on the show Ox with you. I really do rate Scott Arfield. I fit Scott Arfield. I know he's had some injury problems. I think he's a brilliant player, great player. John Lundstram's it's a difficult one. Listen, John Lundstram's clearly a good footballer. There's no two ways about it. I'm not going to sit here and decry the guy. We just need to figure out a way to fit him into our system. And right at this moment in time, I'm not really sure he does. Is he a natural replacement for Stephen Davis? Like Linda said, I don't know. We well read what his game plan, what his remit was. He was box to box. He got you goals. We did have a wee spell where he played quite well. He did. He had 3 or 4 games that he strung together. I don't know, Ox. I don't know the answer to that one. I was pleased to hear Giovanni Van Bronckhorst say last night after the game that he was delighted with the strength and depth that he alluded to that was in his, in the pool of players that he had to bring on to shore up the team at the end, and Lundstram being one of them. So he clearly still sees a role for him.
Aye, interesting. There's a conundrum. I think we'll put it there to the listeners where they stand on it. Yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, it'd be nice to hear their views.
Yeah. And also, what do they think of the last 3 or the first 3 games of the Giovanni Van Bronckhorst revolution? There you go. Let's hear from you.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show. It's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Right. So many changes there's going to be in Saturday, Linda.
Well, I think there's maybe going to be a few. Will I give you my team?
Yeah, I'm interested in that.
Okay, I've got McGregor, Tav, Golson, Bassey and Barisic as the back 4. I'm going with Arfield and Kamara, Dekala, Aribo and Kent, and I've got Roof as the focal forward up front.
Give me that front line again.
Good team.
I've got Sakala, Aribo and Kent as the 3.
All right, okay.
Ruth's playing up top. So it's like kind of 4-2-3-1, but I appreciate what you're saying about Arfield probably pushing further up. I don't think we need 2 holding midfielders. Mm-hmm. No.
Mm-hmm. Aye, well, you've took Morelos out the firing line then?
Yeah, I think I've put him on the bench for Saturday, Ox.
Okay. Jaffa?
My team, I would be the same back 4 or back 5 as Linda's. I'll probably go a bit more. Let's keep a bit of the same. I would keep Davis, Kamara, Kent, and I would have Arfield in there. Kamara, Aribo, and Arfield, and up front I would have Sakala definitely on. If I still got room for Kent in there, have I got my numbers right there? Definitely Kent on the park as well. Minnie's at about 13.
Put the subs on early, isn't he? That's what you're doing. Put the subs on early. Kent last night, the first half, I thought he was poor. I thought his decision making was poor. His passing was poor. His running was poor. Started second half, I thought he was poor. I thought he was dawdling off the ball, particularly that one. And you talked about Jaffa with a throw in, and he's caught pulling up his socks, And then all of a sudden he starts growing into the game. He had a couple of runs, shimmies past people, and he started getting more dangerous. Running about the goal, Linda.
I know, it's really frustrating watching him, isn't it? And you're right. He's quite lackadaisical at times, but he doesn't half take some tackles as well, Oxy. There was a couple of really ones where they caught him right in his ankle, and he must get a few of them every game. But the thing about Kent is that, as we've said, he occupies the defenders. When he goes off, they must be really rubbing their hands together because they don't have to think about him. But his end product can be frustrating at times, but he had that brilliant shot that Porteous got his cooking in front of, and then he's obviously won as the penalty. So you can say that, he did have a significant contribution, but I just think sometimes he could do a lot more in terms of his end product.
I didn't fault his effort last night, and I'd fault with some of his work rate off the ball. His awareness, Jaffa. He always chases and harries, but then, as I said, for about 10 minutes round about the goal, he did look dangerous, didn't he?
Aye. And I think that's the conundrum, Ox, with these really highly talented creative players. I mean, you remember that run that he had, that shot that Linda was alluding to, that he nearly took Porteous' head off with, where he danced between two of them. It came out of nothing. He picked the ball up in the left wing and he just ran it. I mean, that's what we always say when you're sitting watching Ryan Kent at the stadium. You're like, just get the ball and run, pal, because that's what you're brilliant at. You're absolutely brilliant at it. And too often he'll maybe overdo it, or he'll slow it down and he'll go back inside. The run that he had last night where he actually created that shot, he danced between two defenders. And Linda says he does take a power a beating. And then Oxy, he wins you the penalty. And standing in the dressing room, if you're standing with Ryan Kent after the game, he'll say, but I won you the game. I got you the penalty.
Aye, that's fair. That's fair. It's true.
It's true. You can't. It's a fact. He did. One shimmy, one drop of the shoulder, and he danced. Brian Porteous didn't know whether he was a 10 bob bit or a 20 pence piece. And he got the penalty. He drew the penalty off him. Great shimmy, great drop of the shoulder, brilliant penalty. That's Ryan Kent for you. But Ox, over the years, we've seen guys like that at our stadium, and we've had the pleasure of seeing guys like Mark Walters. I know you haven't, me and Linda have, of course. Mark Walters, Ted McMinn, remember big Ted McMinn? Nobody knew it. Ted McMinn didn't know what he was going to do, never mind anybody else. And Alexei Kanchelskis. He was
Andre Kanchelskis.
Andre Kanchelskis.
Mikhailichenko, is that what you were trying to say?
That was the one. Yeah. Thanks, boss. Cheers. Keeping it straight. But yeah, these creative footballers, they come at a price, and that price, I'm afraid, is frustration.
He's got Davies' teeth in. One set between two.
What's your team going to be then, Ox?
Okay, I think McGregor, Tav, Connor, Bassey, Barisic. Midfield of... this is where it gets difficult. Do we need two sitters against Dundee? What about this then? A midfield of Glenn Kamara sitting with Joe Aribo, Ryan Kent, Scott Wright, and then up front, Fashion Sakala and Alfredo Morelos, a 4-1-3-2.
I'd like to see that, Ox. That'd be brilliant, especially against Dundee at home.
There you go.
Very
I mean, it's like 7 forwards on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. I'll put it out there, Linda, yeah?
Yeah, let's hear people's thoughts on it. Very attacking lineup, Ox.
Yeah.
I like that.
Why not?
Exactly.
Well, we're in a good place, Ox. There's loads of guys needing game time, so there's no better place to do that when you've got 50,000 bears and bearettes behind you at Ibrox. That's the place to do these things if you want to try them.
Well, so, if they play with one up top, yeah, you'd like to think the two centre halves to get to the two fullbacks move in beside, Kamara, and actually you sort of playing a sort of 2-3, but your fullbacks first and foremost are the back four, Because you imagine that Dundee will not be too adventurous, even though their form's improved, Linda.
Well, if Charlie Adams playing, they've only played with 10 men, of course,
See what you done there, Jaffa. Has he been playing with him? I've not paid any attention, to be honest.
He was playing last week. He had quite a good game, actually. He did. He played last week. But he won't, if he's playing at Ibrox on Saturday, he'll not be playing. Right. He might be in the team, but he'll not be playing.
You've got to give them, obviously, respect talks, haven't you? But if we're just on the front foot, we should be going out to have a really, comfortable victory, get a couple of early goals, and then just go and get a sort of third and fourth. As you said, we've had a couple of really tough away games there, and you just want to get the victories, but you want to put on a wee bit of style at home. And as I said, no disrespect to Dundee, but you would expect it to be a comfortable victory on Saturday.
Hope so, Linda. You just got to hope that the players are still to always remember that winning the game's the most important thing, and that's got to be done first before anything else, don't you?
Yeah, definitely, Jaffa.
Get themselves up for it and get face the challenge, and we're in a really good place, and that for me is always the difficult part. Sometimes when you can sometimes even as players, I think, I'm sure they do, they fall into that trap where they think all we need to do is go out and turn up, and nobody does that for us in this league. That's the thing about Scottish football. Nobody does that. You've got to go out and win the game.
Yeah, if you don't treat every game right, you can come unstuck, Linda.
Yeah, you can, Ox. And the thing about this is Jaff alluded to, that there is big competition for places. He says he likes the squad. He's got lots of options. So if you get a chance, you hope that the players go in and take it, and they actually put on really good performances that maybe will get them the shirt the next time around. So I don't think he's not going to be afraid probably to leave people out. So as I said, I know you've got Alfie in your team on Saturday, but if you look at his last two performances, you would suspect that he might be left out. And I don't think Gio would be afraid to do that. But as I say, competition for places is good. And going forward, there's going to be loads of games for everybody to be involved in.
Aye, you've got to take your chance when you get it, Jaffa.
Yep, you have, Ox, and that's the great thing about having the kind of pool of players that we've got at our disposal. Guys like Scott Wright, whether they're called upon, Kmart Roof's coming back. He looked good last night, great haircut. He's a man after my own heart. I love that bald head, so I do. I think that makes him more aerodynamic. I think using your full potential of your squad, Sakala, great. I mean, see that leap Sakala had on all serious aside, that leap with that goal, that was absolutely brilliant. He was up about 8 feet in the air. I thought that was amazing. And the power and the strength to do that, I really like Fashion Sakala. So, listen, we've got a great pool of players, and we're in a really good place, and Gio just needs to manage that along, keep things ticking over. Obviously, we've brought a new member of staff into from Ajax from the academy just in the last 6 or 7 days as well, really building on the strength going forward. Ross Wilson spoke greatly about that at the AGM Ox. Really good place. Can't stress enough how great a place our club's in at this moment in time.
Mm-hmm. That's a great point Jaffa makes there, and I don't know if he meant to or no, but take the two managers out of the equation. This backroom staff that's come in, has he got a lot more experience than one at left, Linda?
Yeah, you could argue that, couldn't you? Because, I mean, look at somebody like Roy Mackay. What a player he was. And he's obviously a coach, but he's also specialised in terms of working with the strikers, from what we're led to believe. And it was interesting that Gio had said that, Jermaine Defoe will probably be, more of a player now. I don't know, you can read into that what you think, Ox, but But obviously Mackay's got a bit of experience there in terms of what he's done in coaching roles. That was a kind of new role for Jermaine. But yeah, as Jaffa says, the backroom staff looks a really good unit. He seems to have all avenues covered, and he's got the team that he wants. So it'll be interesting to see how things develop going forward. But it's hard to believe that it's only just been like the 10 days, Ox, isn't it, since the new manager came in?
Thoughts, Jaffa?
Yes.
Backroom staff?
Oh, I think the backroom staff. It could be a great case, Ox, for saying that it looks a lot more experienced. I think on paper it does. I mean, we're going to have to give it time to see it work its magic. I mean, that is it. It's time, because at this moment in time we're mid-season. You know, the programme for games until we get to the winter break, where he gets 2 or 3 weeks with some of the players and gets them on the training ground. I don't think nothing much is going to change in that respect. The backroom staff for me look really, really strong. I love that new appointment we had. I mean, it could be a whole lot worse, Ox. I mean, your backroom team could consist of John Kennedy and Gavin Strachan. That could be your football department. Thankfully, our club is run in a much more professional manner, and we actually have a structure to how we're actually doing things. So long may that continue.
Yeah. It's not for everyone, Mark.
No. It's not for everyone.
No. Let's hear from you.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972? It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Yeah, I'm going to go with that, Linda. 4-1-3-2, yeah.
4-1-3-2, right. Mm-hmm. Hopefully that will give us loads of goals, and we should have people in the box as well, shouldn't we? We should have players in the box, because that's one of the things he's been talking about. Because anything can happen, Ox, even if they've got 9-10 players behind the ball. If they're playing one up, maybe they will have a sort of long forward. But anything can happen. The ball can drop to somebody. It can take a deflection. So we do need to get players into the box. But that width's going to be important as well, and players with pace is going to be equally important, I think, and we need to take our chances.
Mm-hmm. Scott Wright, will we have to see much of him, Jaffa? Thoughts?
No, he's kind of drifted a bit, Ox, hasn't he, out of the picture since I think the last time we really saw him was probably the start of the season, around about the Malmo time. I think even under Gerrard he'd lost his way a wee bit. I mean, you still see him in the training pics and everything. He's still there and thereabouts. I think there's a player there, Ox. I really do. I think there's a player in Scott Wright, and I think he's got a part to play in that Rangers team. He's too quick not to have. He's got good ability, the young lad. He's got really good ability, and he's got a great turn, and he gets himself in good spaces. Maybe he's a quiet lad, isn't he? You know, where some of these guys when these changeovers happen. I mean, obviously Gerrard brought him in; he was one of his guys. So sometimes takes these guys a wee while just for things to settle back down again for them.
He's had a year now, pretty much, Linda. You know, it's time to drive on now.
Yeah, and I think as well, Ox, he was maybe being played kind of what we would say out of position. I know you were saying as well, sometimes he was getting played through the middle. He had a couple of opportunities that he got. He didn't play particularly well. I think we've got to acknowledge that. But maybe if he's played in a more wide position as well, Ox, we might see the best of him. And that's obviously what Gio's looking for, isn't he? He's looking for the width to come from the wingers with just being backed up with the full-backs when we need them. So it would be interesting to see Scott Wright being played in a position where it's his strengths will come to the fore.
Aye, I get where you're coming from. Interesting. I really think Scott Wright will start. Bizarrely, I don't, Jaffa, but there you go. Interesting to see who else would play in that kind of setup, yeah?
Well, Scott Wright's prerequisite is he's a wide player. He's a wide, right midfielder, if you want to call it, forward-thinking right midfielder, number 10, wherever you want to play him. So he plays in that area of the ground. I don't see why he wouldn't be in contention, for a starting place. He just, there's maybe just a number of guys ahead of him at this moment in time, but it's a squad game. We keep getting hearing that. We've got a decent-sized squad, and we need to use these guys. I'm
changing it, Linda. I'm changing it. I'm changing it. Right?
Who are you changing it to?
I'm putting Roof up beside Morelos and pulling Sakala out in the wing. He's put me off of Scott Wright.
You've talked me out it. You talked me into it, now you've talked me back out it.
I've got even more attacking.
It's maybe a wee bit soon for him to get a starting position. Maybe we'll need to see him coming off the bench under Gio Ox before he gets a starting position, I think.
That'd be interesting. I mean, all the players started with a clean slate, but then you've got first impressions kick in, and managers could be cruel, Linda.
Yeah, definitely. He'll be looking for anybody that spits the dummy out the pram as well. I don't think he would appreciate that very much. I mean, somebody like Sakala, he, after coming on, making such a good impact in the game against Livy, he probably thought he was in with a chance for starting against Hibs, and then he obviously didn't even go on. But I think he said himself that, if he doesn't start the game, he's just looking at the game, trying to think what is he going to do when he gets on, take his opportunity, stay positive. And he's just that type of guy. Whereas I think somebody like Alfie, even when he's getting taken off, he never looks happy. But
do you not think the two of them, their facial expressions are very similar?
Opposites attract, is that what you're saying?
You couldn't get any better opposite, could you? Alfie.
I heard I know Sakala's brilliant. He's so positive, isn't he, as a human being? His comments after scoring his goal, and he says, even if I'm not in the team, I just want to work so hard to get back into it. I mean, that's a manager's dream, those kind of comments. Just, keep doing what we're asking you to do. He's a brilliant. He's such a revelation and fresh to have around the place. I love guys like that. You can't have enough of them around your team, because that feeds off on the other players as well. There's no two ways about that.
He's a real positive guy, Linda. That's been saying it lightly, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, when you think about his background, he's had to work really hard to get where he is, hasn't he? He's very humble. He appreciates everything. And he does make an impact when he comes on, doesn't he, Ox? You get some folk that are, thrown on with sort of 15, 20 minutes to go, and it takes them a while to get into the game and you don't see them much. But he's the opposite of that. I think when he comes on, his energy's there right away to see. And I know that, we were thinking he is still a tiny wee bit raw, but he is a good footballer, and I think we're going to see more of him. And he's just trying to get used to Scottish football as well, and then obviously try to get used to how Gerrard played, and then now he's got Gio's sort of formation and tactics to take in. So I think he's got a big part to play this season.
Interesting. I do like him. I think he's going to be an entertainer. I think he'll do some things that's just woefully bad. And then 5 minutes later, Jafar will do something, you go, how did that happen?
Ox, like that leap on Sunday, I mean, he's about 2 feet above the goalie. That to get that spring off the ground. I mean, I know you used to get up that kind of high in your day, but obviously I was never used to the heady heights, but he was brilliant. I love that. He is a bit like that. He's a wee bit raw. He is still a bit raw. Takes up great positions, I have to say. He's clearly got a great footballing brain on in his head, and that's a great thing.
If I'm being critical, I think his first touch could be better, Linda, but no all goal scorers have got the greatest touch, have they?
Yeah, probably because sometimes he's maybe just thinking about the next step as well, because he's quite fast, isn't he, and dead lively. Whereas maybe he could just take his time as well, and I think he'll learn that in terms of the pace of Scottish football. But yeah, his first touch could be better, and sometimes that does happen with players like him. But he likes to shoot, which is good. But sometimes it's maybe no the option, and he has to maybe play in a teammate who's maybe in a better position and to get the goal sort of type thing. But it was interesting, and I think it was at the Livingston game that Alfie tried to set him up for one. The two of them linked up quite well, and I think the guy got a good block in. That would have been a nice goal, the two of them working together. So maybe there is an option to have the two of them in the same team.
We'll see. It'll be interesting. You've just got to get it right. I think we need maybe a couple of changes. I don't think we'll be doing much with defence for obvious reasons, but I think, if I'm being honest, I accept Davy's point that we're a bit slack in possession, Jaffa. Maybe we just need a couple of fresh faces.
Yeah, there was a lot of that last night, Ox. There was a lot of misplaced passes. I mean, I can't remember if it was Alec Ray or somebody was saying after the game that they wondered if they'd done something to the surface. The ball was sticky. It was really, really sticky. I mean, you consider how damp the underground is, especially in that part of Easter Road, down Leith Way. I mean, damp's one way I would describe it, but they did wonder, though, even he was alluding to it, he was saying the ball was, Barisic kept playing the ball. He was trying to play a 10-yard pass and it was only going 5 yards. It was mad at times.
Yep, well, last few minutes. Come and join us. There was a phone, 0141 356 1972. Or join us at Skype at RangersRadio.online. We don't need to do it anymore. Just phone in and we will sort you out. It'd be good to see what people think. Obviously, they've all been busy watching some of the entertaining football. It's been on the TV tonight,
Tell you what, don't mention hamstring, that's all I'm saying.
Right, okay. But look, 3 points for us. We keep going. Momentum, confidence, whatever you want to use the words, Linda, they're important. We go on a run, it becomes that'll be 4 out of 5. League Hibs 1, then 5 out of 5. Hopefully, we just keep growing and growing and growing to drive us onto this league title, because this is a big, important period.
Yeah, and we've just got to look after ourselves, Ox. I know we're always hoping that there'll be slip-ups elsewhere, but we've just got to keep our own house in order and just win our games. And that, as you say, that builds momentum and it also builds confidence. It's a massive league this year. We know that. We know what the prize is at the end of it. We just need to keep going. We never expected a change of manager when it came. As I said, it knocked the stuffing out of us a wee bit, but we're starting to build a wee bit of momentum again. And as you say, just cross one game at a time, just get the victory, get your recovery, get the training, move on to the next one, get to the end of December, and then obviously we've got the dreaded winter break, unfortunately, as I said. But one game at a time.
Yep. Yeah, you're right. One game at a time, Jaffa.
That's all it is. That's all we've got to do is, look after our own backyard, as they say, and win our games. We keep doing what we are doing. The period we get, the situation we got ourselves into last year when we were, it was just the juggernaut, the old Rangers way when we were winning 9 in a row. That's all we've got to do. So it's just about the 3 points. And the only thing that matters, to coin a phrase, a very famous contributor on here, the bridge man, the next game is all that matters. That's the most important game on Saturday.
Yeah, I could have been, but he's right. He's right. Sometime I would think he should go for a wee bit more goals. I wouldn't like to just say 38 goals this season, Linda. But he's right.
Yeah, no. And come Saturday, I don't want to be sitting watching 1-0 in the 89th minute to us, Ox. I'd quite like to watch a comfortable game on Saturday.
Aye, a couple of goals in the first 20 minutes or something, yeah?
Yeah, definitely.
So you move on, and There's just got some callers coming in now. But we'll see where it takes us up. Hopefully now. But aye, a Bridgeman, aye. But I get his point, Bridges' famous point. So, but one of them. Evening, Jim.
Good evening.
How we doing, mate?
Evening, Jim.
Good evening, everybody.
Hi, Jim.
Oxshire, your team's getting no chance. That team you picked.
I never said it one day.
Yeah. I tell you, I was going to say the first time you picked the right side, but it's probably going to be the second time this season you've picked the correct side.
What's your thinking, Jim?
I don't think there's going to be a lot of changes, Oxshire, quite honestly.
Mhm.
What I would probably think about is probably Stephen Davis. I probably wouldn't play him. I'd keep Glenn Kamara. I would play him in the mid three with Big Joe. I'd dust my head a little before I phoned, didn't it? Aye, and Scotty. That's my midfield. Glenn Kamara, right. Joe, and Scotty. Right, and I'm going to play up front. Alfie, Kent, and Sakala. The back four looks after itself. Another thing I was going to say there is it wasn't that long ago, maybe 3-4 weeks ago, we thought that Big Calvin Bassey had made the left back position his own. All of a sudden, the left central defender is his own now.
Aye, he's come on turns. Anyway, I'll cut across you, Jim, and come back to you. You'll let buses call us two.
Do you know what?
We'll be joined by Malky. Evening, Malky.
Evening, Ox.
How we doing, mate?
Not bad, aye. Just thought I'd phone in because you didn't have any callers.
Aye, that's all right, mate. You're welcome. What's on your mind, mate?
It's about the defence. Do you not think we need to go out and get a quality central defender in January?
Anybody in mind, mate?
Nah, we'll need the Scottish anyway.
Right. It's no easy, but I accept your point. The big Southside Jaffa was saying that at the start of the season he felt as if we needed two central defenders, and they might be right.
No, I scoffed at that Ox at the time, Matt.
When you go, carry on.
Sorry, Davey. I scoffed at that at the time. I thought, we've got plenty of cover, and lo and behold, they were dropping like flies. I think we do, Davey. I think we do need to go out and get somebody in January if we can get somebody in. It's going to be difficult though. I'm not sure how all that's going to play out. It's probably a whole other show for the guys to talk about and the girls on here. Whether we, who's going to be leaving, if anybody's going to be leaving us, and because money, I don't know if we would go out and buy anybody, Davey, or whether we're looking for a free transfer. I know John Suter's name's been mentioned. I don't know enough about John Suter, and I know he's had a couple of bad injuries. I'm not sure about that one, to be honest with you, but I know the lad's a decent player, but I don't know. These guys cost money. Big Golson situation's another bone of contention, isn't it? How that's going to play out.
Wonder?
Yeah, I agree with Jaffa, Malky. I'm just not sure about it. Would be great to sign somebody, but it'll come down to the money. Because I don't think we've got the finance to go out and pay big money for some, for a quality player. I don't know how that'll play out, and as Ox says, it'll depend on what happens with Golson. But we had 5 or 6 centre backs at the beginning of the season, and now we're just down to one recognised one. So it's just the way things pan out, isn't it?
And you come
because, well, I think Golson's off anyway. But in the meantime, if anything happens to Golson or Bassey, we're snookered.
Yeah.
Because it's going to take Hollander a wee while to come back, get match fit, play games.
Mm-hmm.
And we really need to win this league. So we might have to sell a player just to get a defender.
Maybe. Good point, Jim.
No, I'm not born about Conor Goulson. As far as I'm concerned, he can go anytime. Ogshire. I don't think he's doing it. He's not doing it for me anyway. With Bassey even covering from another night. The last 2 games, Bassey's been covering for the back four. As far as I'm concerned, that boy's turned into a revelation. As far as I'm concerned, I beg Conor go anytime. His heart's no in it, as far as I can see. He thinks he's a better player than what he is, I think.
But at the moment, we need him. Who else have we got to put in there?
There's a lot of options, you're right. When we're going to get to January and see what happens with Hollander and Balogun. If they're back, all of a sudden you're sitting there with 4, Jaffa. So do you go to the market if they end up with 4 fit in January?
I don't. And another thing I would say, Ox, from Tuesday's AGM, I don't know if any other guys picked up on it, or Linda picked up on it. I thought the comment from Ross Wilson about the wage structure, about it not being broken, for me that was aimed at Conor Goulson and his representatives. That there absolutely no chance was that wage structure being broken. So I agree with Malky. I think if Conor thinks he's a 35 grand or a 40 grand a week player, let him crack on and go. He can get a contract elsewhere down south doing with that kind of money. He's not going to get that at Glasgow Rangers. He's not that good, I'm afraid. That's just a fact of the matter.
There, Jaffa, that's champion. Do you think his ideas above his station, Conor Goulson? I definitely do.
Yeah, I do, Jim.
Me too.
And you know what happens. You know what happens when players eventually get their head into that space, or their head's been turned, as the expression agents and stuff use and papers use. Usually, what happens is their head's he's gone anyway. The deal's done. Wherever he's moving to. And he's not really fully committed to it, and I think that goes back to maybe that interview that he gave a couple of weeks ago, doesn't it?
Yeah, Jaffa, you think back for last season, right? Let's go back to last season, the title winning season. I might be wrong here, but I don't think he missed a league game the whole season.
No.
It's just how the tables have turned on him, or he's turned actually. No, the tables have turned on him. He's turned. To me, for this season, the start of this season, and I don't think he's in it. Yeah, that is, I don't know. It's a conundrum. He kind of goes, I would let him go. See if we get sell him in January if we get money from him. He's going to just work his ticket and walk away in the summer.
I'm interested to see how it pans out, yeah. But we are short in the central defenders, Linda. Malky's right, yeah.
Yeah, and if anything does happen to Goulson or Bassey, we're absolutely snookered. I don't know if there's any of the younger boys that we would have any confidence in bringing through. Leon King, yeah. A prospect he is. I don't know whether you would put him into that, throw him into the kind of lines then. I don't know, Ox. But certainly with Conor Goulson, I think his performances last year probably what's been this kind of bargaining tool for his agent, but Rangers have just still said, look, it doesn't matter, we appreciate what you did, but we've got this structure, as Jaffa says, and if he stays and we win the league and then he goes in the summer, then so be it.
Aye, we'll see what it takes us, but I agree with Malky, we're short of centre half, we're short in the position. I think we've also been joined by Bob Jet. Evening, Bob Jet.
Hi, Ox. How you doing?
All the better for you. Your dulcet tones.
That's fine, pal. I'll tell you, I suppose I'm like everybody else tonight, that I'm amazed that we were 3-0 down to that lot. Amazed. They never created a single opportunity last night. I thought Rangers put in a good workman-like performance. I hear Linda talking there about Conor Goulson. I thought some of his passes in the second half last night were nothing short of shocking. Sorry to go to that extremity, but the pass was terrible.
The problem was with that when they tried to make the pass was the own.
No, he gave it away innumerable times in the second half last night. He was decent in the first half, but second half, not. Sorry. But that's it. We got away with it. Well, not as much got away with it. We won the 3 points. And that's what counted. That's a hard tussle. So,
Yeah, he didn't have his best game, but we've been saying that for quite a while now, haven't we, Bob? And you know, he's making mistakes. I'll give him credit. In one moment last night, he had a cracking. He deflected the ball away. I think it was maybe the second half, where the Hibs player got in, and I think Nisbet thought he'd a tap in at the back post, and Connor actually got the ball away. So
credit for that, Linda.
Yeah, very much so. That was a goal-saving sort of intervention he made. But he just needs to, get his head down. And as you said, it must be affecting him. We've said this all season. This contract situation.
If the boy wants to be here, fair enough. If he doesn't, well, still fair enough. We'll just have to get somebody in that does.
I think we've also been joined by George EK. Evening, George.
Evening, Linda. Evening, Bob J. Evening,
hi, George.
Jim, Jaffa, and yourself, Oxchair. How you doing?
Hi, George.
Hi, George.
Hi.
All right.
Hi, George.
Good job.
All right.
Thanks very much, George. Not bad, George.
Thanks a lot, George. Rangers for everybody and anybody.
I phoned in before, but I've been doing a series for procrastinating, not talking about something to knock in the head.
Right, George, the floor's yours.
Right, mate. I thought last night, man, was a long drawn-out affair. Very tedious. You know what I mean? I was like to myself, man, I don't know how Bridgeman can handle these Van Nils by because I feel as if a cardiac arrest is coming any time. I mean, but at the end of the day, we got the 3 points, man. That's what matters, by the way. That's brilliant. That's what matters. Do I hear my team?
Yes.
Right. McGregor, Carr, Golson, Bassett, Barisic, Arfield, Aribo, Kamara, Sakala, your favourite player, Oxchair, and then Roof.
Okay. Jaffa.
No Kent in there, George?
No, I'm going to leave him out this one.
Right,
Bring him off the bench, but an impact player.
I like your midfield. Midfield's strong.
I like it, I know. That's what I think.
Good luck.
But I like Kent, leaving Kent an impact player. You know what I mean?
All right, okay. Malky, what's your team for Saturday?
Well, I think you'd probably play the same team as last night. It's just who he's going to put up front.
Mm-hmm.
Well, replace Morelos or Sakala.
Maybe just
me
the one.
Personally, I'd try out Sakala.
Aye, I don't think you're alone in those thoughts, mate. I think a lot of people are thinking it's time for Sakala. Jimfy Paisley.
That was my front three was Sakala, Alfie and Kent. My midfield was Aribo, Scotty, and Glenn Kamara. See, the reason I'm picking Sakala, because see if Sakala plays up front with Alfie, I think Alfie gets a wind up thinking he's only cut my grass. So he might play further forward, you know.
Well,
If you want your grass cut, Mrs. Allbear's the person phone. Right, okay. Well, listen, you've started to get me forgetting about that game last night and look forward to the game on Saturday. Linda, 3 o'clock on a Saturday. How unusual is that?
I know. I can't remember the last time. Looking forward to it, Ox.
Yeah. Jaffa, do you think they'll ever catch on 3 o'clock on a Saturday for a game of football?
I know. Who would have thought it, Ox? I have to say, I look down at that EPL at times, and they've always got 6 or 7 or 8 games on at 3 o'clock on a Saturday. Our cards all over the place, isn't it? You never know when you're playing. It is good to get back to Ibrox at 3 o'clock on a Saturday, just getting up on a Saturday morning and getting your staple 2 rolls and sausage, and then on your way down to Paisley Road West. I like it.
I like the way the boys all park their cars in Finnis and support the local businesses. That would be something you would say is a good idea. Jaffa, would you?
I would, aye. Yep. I mean, over that Squinty Bridge, it's very good for the bounce here as well.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Fell out because of that. He's still got any games anywhere.
Who your boy?
Aye, Sam not got any games anywhere. It's so much flagging, for God's sake, man. You know what I mean? But no, Mummy's boy.
The rest of them, George. Obviously, I never said anything, George. Right, well, gentlemen. Thanks for coming in and joining us, but unfortunately, Linda, we've reached that time in the evening.
Oh, great night, Ox, and it was nice to hear the guys coming in at the end there. Lots
They
of
might have
good
been
chat.
watching the Man U and Arsenal game, I think.
Yeah, there must have been.
I was putting the Christmas tree up.
George.
Oh, that's nice, George. Nice.
No, I'm only neighbour the foot one, so I need to put it up.
But no, it was a great night. Enjoyed being on, and it was nice being on with Jaffa. Lots of good chat, and come on, Rangers, another victory on Saturday, please.
Here, Jaffa.
Here. Yep, thanks for having us on. Always great to be on Rangers Radio with Ox, and thanks, Linda, for your company tonight. Great chat. Thanks to the guys for coming on, Albert and George and all the other lads that are on there. Love Rangers Radio, and as the old Bridgeman would say, keep it going for the Rangers.
Yeah. That's again as a call at the end there, George, Malky, Timothy Paisley, and the one and only Bob Chair, and of course the legend.
No problem, Paul.
Old Davey. Thanks to Fox and Old School Blue for doing the technicals. Thanks for listening. This has been Rangers Radio. We'll be back tomorrow night between 8 and 10 talking about all things Rangers, but we'll be joined by the one and only JFK and Southside. Take it away, Old School Blue.
All his story, the Rangers Football Club, the Rangers Football Club, the Rangers Football Club, the greatest in all history, the Rangers Football Club. A debt we owe, we cannot pay. Those gallant pioneers, a legacy they did bestow. We shared down through the years. To Moses and those fine young lads, our gratitude we'll show. We'll sing our song with heart and voice, and let the whole world know. The Rangers Football Club, the Rangers Football Club, the greatest in all history, the Rangers Football Club. Come join as one and toast to all who share our history. Toast William Struth, a noble man, I'm sure you will agree. Lest we forget our absent friends, they watch from up above. In life and death we'll always be with Rangers Football Club. The Rangers Football Club, the Rangers Football Club, the great